Have you ever thought, I'm doing all the things, but my body still doesn't feel like mine? Well, you're not alone and you're in the right place. Burnout, bloating, exhaustion, being stuck in what feels like hormone havoc and this never ending yo yo diet roller coaster. We've been there. We get it. And friend, we're here to tell you today that you don't need to try harder. We're going to talk about how you can live and enjoy motherhood and the messy middle while learning how to lose weight, both physically and emotionally. Welcome to Motherhood and the Messy Middle, where grade school meets grown kids, hot flashes meet holy fire, and no topic is too messy for this village. I'm Robin, one half of the voice behind this podcast. Nicole and I are two moms who slid into each other's DMs and built a virtual village where we are inviting you into our honest, healing, and often hilarious conversations that help you feel not so alone in the beautiful chaos of motherhood and midlife. We talk about what it really means to mother, to grow, to fall apart, and rebuild, spiritually, emotionally, hormonally, and sometimes all before breakfast. So whether you're in the thick of motherhood, facing perimenopause, praying hard, or just tired of pretending you're fine, this space is for you. Let's dive in.
Hey, how's it going?
Well, other than, just we start recording a podcast and a crashing noise, and then we have to pause and check on the things and the people.
Yeah,
Everyone's
right.
alive. They frequently try to unalive themselves, but we're here. We're here.
Uh-huh. And nothing is broken.
I don't think so.
In the words of the child, nothing's are broken. Oh man. Um, my week has been a little bit of an emotional roller coaster, and I was excited to record this with you today because I knew you'd have good insight, and I knew we were talking about this topic, and so um I wanted to share a little bit about like what my last couple weeks have looked like, and then um like chat about all the work that you do and like how it could help me.
I'm here
And
for you.
and everybody else, because I don't think I'm alone in this. So I went to the doctor because we've talked about it before, hormones and weight and all the things. And so I went to the doctor and I've gained 13 pounds in the last 6 months. And I haven't been this heavy since after like postpartum with my fourth child who just turned 12. So it feels we're pretty far from that. Why all of a sudden am I gaining so much weight? And the only solution is that and then we talked about my hormones, which feel wildly out of control.
And is
And
this with your general practitioner?
yeah.
Okay.
And the only solution that she gives for hormones is birth control. But I don't want to do the birth control because I was on birth control and I think it contributed to the weight gain.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's just a personal choice for me. Um, But then I also, like, was talking to her about how I know it's all one cycle, like, the weight gain is making me feel like I don't feel confident, nothing fits, but I don't wanna buy new clothes because I don't wanna be here forever, but I also, like, then don't wanna go out and do things because I don't feel good in my clothes, I don't feel good in my skin. I don't wanna move my body because I just feel gross, even though I know I should move my body because that will help me, but
Yeah,
I
it's
also and
harder.
I
Yeah.
yeah, and, like, I know the weight gain is contributing to the weird flux in my hormones,
Mm-hmm.
so it's, like, all interconnected, and I felt, like, pretty unsatisfied with her answers, but also, like, not really knowing what path to take, and I had recently taken we'll get into this a little bit more in detail, but I recently, was using your ebook, and I've done you and I have talked at length about blood sugar and managing all those things, and so I came home with, like, semi kind of a plan, but then also knowing that, like, okay, I'm gonna pull that ebook back out and look at that and look at, like, how I manage my blood sugars and all those things. But I just feel like that's so relatable. I feel like we're all in this season in this motherhood in the messy middle where it's this cycle of I'm gaining weight and my hormones feel out of control and they're all connected, but I don't know how to if I get on control of one, how long does it take for like how do I know they're all interconnected, but how do I work them all together to better myself? Like
Yeah.
right now they're working against me. How do I sync them up to work for me?
Hmm.
And so I know that's a lot of what you talk about. And so I thought that I could use a refresher
Yeah.
on the systems that you've built and why you've built them. And then I really just want to share with our audience this because I do think it's helpful because I don't think I'm alone in this cycle of like,
No,
what the
you're
crap?
not. And the very first thing is I just want to acknowledge and recognize how incredibly proud of yourself you should be for the courage. And, the root of the word courage is cur, which is French, and the Latin root means leading from your heart.
Mm,
To be able to share this extremely vulnerable and real situation of
mm,
weight gain and hormones and trying to balance all of the things. And you're doing that on a podcast where people are listening. And you're doing it from a place of service because, yes, it is about what you're going through, but we know that we are not alone. And our mission around this podcast is to help women feel connected and seen
mhm.
in
Yeah.
all of these little intricacies. And there's so many different layers to it. So I just want to acknowledge that. And in that
Thanks.
acknowledgement and in you expressing this frustration, the reality that is what happens when women go to the doctor, when we hit midlife, all of these conflicting pieces, is that it is the first step is acknowledgement and is
Mm,
recognizing that it is challenging.
mhm,
And even in that challenge, what I like to identify is that if there are all of these different pieces that are impacting what's happening with your physical body, how can we think that there's only one solution, that there's a
mm,
one size fits all solution? There isn't.
mhm,
And the reality is that hormones are never the same. Even as your hormones change in perimenopause and then into menopause and postmenopause, our hormones, especially as women, are in cycle, they're in flux.
mm,
And so what works one week, especially when you're still in your menstrual cycle, might not be the same thing that's going to work a different week. We have
mm,
to attend to our wholeness. And the
mhm,
reality that if we restrict our lives and we go into a place of deprivation, which I'm going to be very real with you, Nicole, I started hearing you say when you were saying, the hormones in my body and it feels broken and all of these things. We need to start by unpacking the fact that you are not broken. In fact, in perimenopause, you're not just aging, you're actually evolving. But
I love that shift.
we live in a society that wants us to spend more money. And
Mm,
in order to do that, we're fed all of these things from especially as women, as mothers, that we're doing everything wrong and that
mhm,
it's just going to be the next solution is with the next supplement or pill, or if we are at this size, then you can celebrate,
right,
then you will be recognized.
right,
And that's just not the reality of how we are truly meant to be. We're
mhm,
meant to be connected, like you and
mhm,
I are virtually right now,
mhm,
but where we feel seen and heard. Women
and
are
less
meant to,
crazy.
yes,
Like, yeah.
we are meant to be the wisdom keepers, the
Mm,
village tenders, and that means hanging out in groups that are multi-generational where we support
mhm,
each other and we learn about those intricacies of
yeah,
aging. And
yeah,
we don't just see it from this outside of like, oh, it's the wrinkles and it's the hot flashes and it's all of this. Where we see these women, these elders who've been through
mm,
these stages and they're stronger than ever.
yeah,
They're enjoying some things in life more than they ever have before because
mhm,
that's the power that can exist in this season. So I
mhm,
just want to lay that as an overall foundation.
mhm,
And if you'd allow me, I would love to take you on a bit of my story and journey because weight loss and struggling with my weight was part of my identity. And in the last 10 years, I've been able to maintain a 60-pound weight loss.
mhm.
Um,
Just
and
incredible.
well, what's really incredible is in the United States, 99% of people who lose weight gain it back.
Mhm. It's a
And I don't
yo-yo.
remember, yes, the yo-yo. And I don't
Mhm.
remember the exact percentage of those that gain it back, but there's a huge percentage that actually gain back more.
Mm.
And there's a lot of differing information out there. Trust me, I've dove into it all in the last, especially the last over 20 years that I've been focusing more on the weight loss piece of my journey, where there's misconceptions about, well, the fat cells get depleted and they just want to refill up and all of these things that maybe there's elements of truth, but the reality is if we're not tending to our whole self, then we're
Right.
not actually addressing what needs to be addressed with hormones. So let's just start by talking about hormones. And
Okay.
I want to make sure that you have a tangible takeaway today, Nicole, but that every one of our listeners does as well. So you mentioned the Balance Your Body Method ebook, which we'll
Mhm.
link in the show notes to be able to download it. And you can go to robinswellnest.com and you'll see links to be able to download it. In that ebook,
And it's
go ahead.
free. It's a free download.
Oh, yeah. Yes,
Yeah.
it is.
Mhm.
Because I believe that there should be no barrier to wellness. There shouldn't be
Mhm.
gatekeeping, and that especially finances shouldn't be a barrier.
Mhm.
And so in the ebook, I walk you through the Balance Your Body method, and we can get into that. But the high level of it is that it is a soul meets science approach to
Mhm.
looking at health holistically for holistic weight loss and wellness. And as you look at the methodology and then learn about that, there's going to be big takeaways there. But I get into the ebook where I drill down so that it is this simple, tangible takeaway around the first part of the Balance Your Body method is developing a foundation of
Mhm.
wellness. And I introduce 4 M's, which are meditation, mindset, movement, and mindful nourishment, that help build a really strong foundation for women who aren't sure what their foundation should be.
Mhm.
And within there, the most powerful place that impacts your mind, your body, and in turn, your emotional, energetic spirit is mindful nourishment.
Mm.
And mindful nourishment is bringing in mindful eating with gentle nutrition.
Mhm.
And the best place to start is blood sugar.
Mhm.
And the reason why is because blood sugar is also called glucose, but our body deals with blood sugar to help us burn energy. That's literally our fuel for our body.
Mhm.
And we produce a hormone that helps with the regulation of that energy. And that hormone is insulin.
Mhm.
And all hormones work together. So if we are as women in perimenopause, or when you start transitioning like me in full menopause, our hormones are fluctuating. They're always fluctuating, but there's more variation in what's happening with declining estrogen, potentially declining progesterone, as we are in this season of life, that then actually impacts the other hormones, and they in turn impact the estrogen, the progesterone,
Mhm.
everything else that's going on. So the one that we can focus on is insulin. Now,
Mm.
without getting into all of the different scientific pieces, or even having you purchase a continuous glucose monitor, or like I did for an extended period of time, I actually pricked my finger and did the blood
Mhm.
glucose monitoring to be able to really test everything that I was putting forward for myself and clients. What you need to know is that blood sugar rises and falls. It's the extreme rise and the sharp dip that cause us to then have imbalances like
Right.
brain fog, like inflammation, like insomnia in the middle of the
Mm.
night. All of these things that are really even more extreme when we're in perimenopause and beyond.
Mhm.
So in the ebook on pages 20, 21, and I think 22, I give 10 simple strategies to help balance your blood sugar. So you
Mhm.
don't have to understand all of the intricacies about it, but
Mhm.
to be able to bring in just a few little tips and tricks. So one of them that everyone can do today, and most people already are doing, is grab your emotional support water bottle. That's what I
Oh, I
like
have
to call
mine.
it. Yep. Because it goes with us everywhere, right?
It even holds my AirPods, I know you
Yes.
can't see it, but it's, I got it hooked up. Have you ever seen the Snuggie that goes around it that holds, like, a chapstick and, like, your credit card? No,
No,
okay.
but my life
Okay.
has now changed, and I
Yeah.
feel like I will be online shopping after this. But grab that water bottle and make sure that you're drinking water, because hydration helps your body to be able to regulate your blood sugar levels. When you're dehydrated, you're actually going to take those blood sugars and they're going to spike more, and that's going
Mm,
to cause the dip. And there's so much around. Even if you're dehydrated, you might think that you're hungrier than you actually are. And there's so much depth to mindful nourishment that it's actually a course that I have and an entire retreat that I
mm,
lead. But you don't have to go to those depths to begin just getting the benefit. That's the
yeah,
power of a soul meet science system that I've created with the Balance Your Body method, and why I've so carefully created it, because it is not me just being this guru who's going to tell you this one size solution that pushes a profit over what people actually need. It's a system that helps meet you where you're at and that you can
right,
scale it for the capacity that you have in your
right.
life. So there are 10 different strategies, but I always like talking about hydration. And another really great one is, instead of focusing on restriction. So, oh, I can't have sugar. I can't have any more carbohydrates, because sugar, carbohydrates, they're all carbohydrates and they're
Yeah.
what burn and what spike the blood sugar faster. That is a both fixed but also scarcity mindset. And
Mhm,
our mindset about things, that actually influences our hormones. You
mhm.
see, that influences cortisol and adrenaline. So when we are the moms with the mental load that could do the same task as our partners, yet internally we are carrying all of the different details around it,
Right.
our body is actually pumping more hormones that are making the symptoms that we're experiencing in perimenopause and beyond worse,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
making us feel like we're broken when that's not the truth. Our bodies are meant to be in balance. It's
Mhm,
our modern lives and the pace of the lives that are causing our bodies to react in
mhm.
ways that it would just as if there was a saber-toothed tiger jumping out from a bush. But instead, it's the ding of our smartphone or the 500 emails from the start of school and the forms that we have to fill out. So I'm not going to be able to take all of those things away for anyone. In fact, in my
Mhm.
own life, I started realizing, like, I don't want to not live in this
Right.
modern world. I want to be part of all of these things. That's not a solution for me. So what the solution is how do we add things that
Mm,
help us to be more calm and in
mhm,
turn gain confidence, because it supports the whole system. And that's where the 4M foundation, that's part of the Balance Your Body method, is with meditation, because
mhm.
meditation is just a formal practice that is helping you to regulate your nervous system. And it actually is also improving the health of your brain with regards to longevity. It's an exercise, really, a formal exercise for your brain of paying attention to your
Mhm.
thoughts and disconnecting from them, so that your thoughts don't just trigger reactions in your life, that you're creating more space.
Well,
Because
and
really, that's what we don't have in our lives, Nicole. We don't
right.
have space. We're just rushing and grabbing and fixing
Yeah,
and soothing, right? Because what's the
right,
biggest soother? Ooh, a really great like piece of pizza or
right,
a donut or whatever.
right,
It's literally conditioned in us to
right.
have that.
Well, and something that I feel like is important to touch on that we talk about frequently, but it's a misconception, if I think that's how you'd say it, and we hear from people consistently, like how we don't have time to meditate or it just the time in which to meditate. And I feel like you speak on this frequently of it doesn't have to, no one's expecting you to sit down and meditate for an hour, especially when you're just starting, like having a realistic expectation of how to incorporate that. And the other thing that I wanted to just quickly touch on when you're talking about the four M's and, you know, your blood sugar and all the things is that when I first wanted to like go through your ebook and take your reset, which I know we haven't talked about yet, um, I was like, well, I'm like, I need to be in the right mind. Like I'm too
Mm.
busy. And what I think is really powerful about what you've created is that it's really realistic in that it doesn't have to be, you don't have to wait to start it until when it's a perfect time in your life because it's meant to be started so that you can incorporate it because your life, you've created it around our lives as they are, like what you just touched on. I want to be a part of all those things. I don't want that to necessarily change, but how do I incorporate these things so that I feel more balanced? And I think that's a really valuable piece that I want to make sure we touch on is that you don't have, there's not like a certain like season of life you have to be in order to start reading these things, incorporating them slowly, one at a time, whenever you're ready for, because it's meant to meet you where you're at.
Well, and here's the deal. If people want quick fixes, you can get those. There are a lot of things that you
Yeah,
can
right.
do, but it's going to be the same thing you've done before and you're going to get the same results. You might lose weight quickly, but it's
Mm,
going to just whiplash right back
right.
because that is inevitably what happens. It is going slow to sustain, and
Mm-hmm.
you can literally feel better within a day if you implement the four M's because of the regulation of your nervous system
Mm-hmm.
and the deeper elements of empowerment that are truly happening. You know, empowerment is this buzzword, but it and so many people just sling it around. What does that actually mean? It
Mm,
means where you start stepping into the fact that you are your inner coach. You are
mm-hmm.
your expert. You are the guru. And that is what I guide women towards. I
Yeah.
have a lot of information from a lot of different areas, all the way from way in that world of woo to the full blown science with peer reviewed research. That's what you
Mm-hmm.
get when you have a professionally trained, seasoned, licensed teacher, leader who has done so many certifications. This podcast isn't long enough to list. But the reason I've done all of that is because I was forced into it
Right.
because of my mental and physical ailments that led to
Mm-hmm.
crippling and crumbling of my life. And as I rebuilt it, I continued to experiment with what was working and what wasn't while I was in real time, helping
Mm-hmm.
support other women in their weight loss and wellness journey.
Right.
And the result is this balance your body method that is designed to support instead of shrink your life because we deserve to show up at the potluck and have the treat. I
Yeah.
actually just traveled for 2 weeks and
Mm-hmm.
I don't like to use numbers because that's part of ditching diet culture, which is the work that
Mm-hmm.
I'm invested in.
Mm-hmm.
But I am going to share because it's so powerful. I lost 3 pounds during the 2 weeks of travel. And that includes coming back and going to the state fair and enjoying food.
Right. Yeah.
And but that's not something that happens overnight. It takes time. And if you want to make the time go faster, the secret sauce is doing it in community because
Mm-hmm.
that's what we're meant to do and how we're meant to be.
Mm-hmm.
So the Balance Your Body Method ebook has the entire methodology laid out for you and then goes deep into blood sugar and 10 tangible takeaways. That could be enough for anyone.
Right.
You get to decide as your own inner expert and also given the capacity of where you want to be and how quickly you want to get there. The next step is what you mentioned, joining the 4-day reset.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason that I've designed it as 4 days is because as mothers in the messy middle, we need to have a short time frame where we
Mm-hmm.
can focus and
Right.
feel the results and allow that to not only be a reset from maybe none of the practices into them, but then also a monthly reset. Because
Mm-hmm.
as you mentioned and you started with, this all began for you because of trying to understand your menstrual cycle and what that looks like.
Mhm.
And as we step into perimenopause and beyond, we no longer have that to guide us. For women like me who always had erratic menstrual cycles and then went into menopause
Yeah.
early, I never had that consistency. And so I started tuning into something that I would look up at the night sky and see, and then it would disappear, and then I'd see, and it was the moon. And
Yeah.
the moon is in this 28-day beautiful cycle. And
Which I
there's
had no
just,
idea until I knew you that.
well, and it's always cycling. So what
Yeah.
more powerful of something I can see and that is here in our universe
Mhm.
that God created for us to be able to tune into that helps women. We're not meant to run on 24/7 cycles. Men are.
Right.
We're not. And so
Mhm.
it's this way that in the 4-day reset, you can purchase it anytime. But when you purchase, you get 1 month of access to all of the live coaching. And
Mhm.
1 week each month, I provide live coaching the first week of the month for the reset, as well as weekly wellness workshops that are
Mm.
every Wednesday at noon Central Time. So you get access to those to really jumpstart everything.
Mhm.
And then if you want to return, you have access in the course portal to all of the reset materials, even as they continue to grow. And you can do that on your own, or there's other options as you're part of that world to rejoin another reset live
Mhm.
coaching, or there's other pieces too. But I don't want to get into all of those pieces. I mean, I do, right? Like I want to be able to serve people all of the different offerings that I have created while working with clients. But the reality is that's drinking from a fire hose. And it
Mhm.
also is not the solution. I can't sit here and tell someone what their path is because it's a personal wellness plan.
Mhm.
And that's actually one of the things that I provide is
Mhm.
if you want to get a personal wellness plan where I can map out for you some different resources and areas, even help with getting into specifics of meal plans or what you should or shouldn't count that works for you, that's where a personal wellness planning session
Mhm.
comes into play. That's where joining one of the group programs as they open up or a one-on-one. But
Mhm.
if everyone could just download and read the ebook to
Mhm.
expand how they think about
Mm.
perimenopause and beyond and what holistic weight loss and wellness can look like, that is my dream. Because
Yeah.
a world in which true wellness, not one that is masking symptoms, but one that
Mm.
is empowering individuals to be their best expert and to merge complementary practices. So you go to your general practitioner, you get the medications that you need, but you also start learning about holistic aspects that help to bring all of that together. And
Mhm.
as your individual seasons change, then you feel empowered to also shift. It's not going to be
Mhm.
one size fits all, even for one individual. We're going to
Mhm.
consistently change, but you can be healthy and well. You can have a balanced weight. I prefer to call it a harmonious weight because it's
Mhm.
not just one number, it's a range of numbers.
Right.
I've been in deep grief, Nicole, for the last several
Right.
years and challenge. And you know that just 2.5 weeks ago, less, it's, oh my gosh, it's unbelievable. It was just 2 weeks ago that my spiritual guide, a Franciscan nun,
Mhm.
Sister Gabe, that she just passed away
Mhm.
unexpectedly. And I was able to be at her bedside in hospice.
Mhm.
I wouldn't be able to have held that
Mm.
energy and that space and that grief and then shift as part of my travels to a week on vacation with my in-laws,
Mhm.
which has its own joys and challenges, and not only maintain my weight, but lose weight, and
Right.
not while depriving myself, while enjoying ice cream, while enjoying not just ice cream, right? But all of the things, and come out of that. It's because of this method. It's
Mm.
because of integrating it. And When women show up and wellness, true wellness leads, and women have confidence and ease, that's when our world truly becomes the place that our children need for the future.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
So I think that's a really great place to wrap up today. And just because you had come in here and, shared with being vulnerable, your current situation and wanting some support, let me remind you that just expressing yourself and sharing that with another person, that's part of what we as women need. And that's part of what activates that alignment.
Mm-hmm.
The second piece is the tangible takeaway around relook at that ebook, flip to the pages 20 through 24, print off those pages, perhaps even hang them on your refrigerator so that you can see the 10 ways to help balance your blood sugar, and then just start experimenting. And, you have a reset coming up, girlfriend. So we're the first full week of the year will be resetting. And that's just a time to really focus on those 4 M's and experiment with how they fit into your life and how
So
you
when's your
feel.
next reset?
The next reset is going to be September 8th through the 11th.
Okay.
And then for the remainder of this fall of 2025, if you're listening now, the first full week of each month, I'm going to be running a reset. So the time is not tomorrow. The time is right now to start learning and start showing up for yourself so that you can then truly embrace motherhood and the messy middle, all of the pieces in between.
Mm-hmm.
So you can get, for all of the listeners, you can get the Balance Your Body Method ebook through the link that is in our show notes, or you can go to robinswellness.com and know that you are not alone. We are all women navigating the messy middle. We are holding so much, our mental load, our physical hormone havoc, and yet the longing to feel well, it's natural and it can be actualized when you have a soul meets science system. So until next time, go ahead and download that ebook, share the podcast with your girlfriends, take care of your body, your mind, and your spirit, and we will see you next time.
Bye, guys.
Hey, before you go, we've got something just for you. We created the Motherhood and the Messy Middle Resource Vault. It's a growing library of support that's just for you. So inside, you're going to find tools from both Nicole and my work, plus resources that we mention right here on the podcast. It's free, it's sent straight to your inbox, and it's always evolving, just like you. So take what you need, leave the rest. You never know when you're going to need it or when your group chat might thank you for it. So use the link in the show notes or head to motherhoodandthemessymiddle.com to get access, and welcome to your virtual village.